Good Sunday morning, everybody. Back here with another review, and my tripod is about to fall. Sorry about that. Okay, so this fragrance right here, this is called Khasab oudh. Okay, and let me get a little close up here. All right, this fragrance was highly recommended to me. It was actually produced as a favor for a friend of my supplier. Okay, and just so you can kind of get a little close up and see, you know, to show you the thickness for those of you out there who, you know, put a lot of emphasis on that. Some of you really care about the thickness. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything to me, but for those of you who it does mean something to you, there it is. You can kind of see that, you know, let's see how it kind of like drops in that bottle right there. It's got a nice little thickness to it. Okay, I personally, I really, you know, to me, the only thing I think thickness is good for, because in a lot of fragrances, it's an additive, as far as I'm told, is to, like Egyptian musk, for example. I always go back to Egyptian musk, right? Because that fragrance is like the rice and beans of, you know, the fragrance business. If you're in the body oils business, that's like a staple, right? That's a staple fragrance for a lot of people who wear oils, and it's also a staple fragrance for a lot of people that sell oils, right? And I personally, in my opinion, feel that the thickness is really what helps to keep that fragrance on you. Okay, that's the only thing, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, leave a comment down below, but I think that's really the only good purpose a thickness additive in a fragrance is really good for, is to keep it on your skin longer, so it doesn't kind of evaporate into the air really fast. But this fragrance right here, the Khasab oudh, I always like that, you know, put stories out. That's part of the reason why it takes me so long to put certain fragrances out on YouTube, is because I like to gather and collect experiences and stories, so that way I can actually give you a genuine, you know, story of like what happened with the fragrance and why do I recommend it. So it was during our holiday, which is the Eid, and which was like, it was a while ago, a few months ago actually, and I brought this to the masjid, and you know, before the Eid prayer, you know, everybody's making the takbirs and stuff like that, and so I like to test stuff out. So what I did was I kind of like passed it down the row, and told the person, hey, keep passing it on, and tell the next person to keep passing it on. And so what happens is it kind of makes its way all the way around the rows until, you know, after the khutbah and after the prayer is done, you know, you kind of want to see where the bottle ends up. And it's always amazing, like it's always interesting that you will see the bottle, if it's a good fragrance, it will not come back. It will not come back full if it's a good fragrance. And that is exactly what happened to the Khasab oudh. When I look back, you know, some fathers, they were putting it on their sons and stuff like that, and they were kind of, you know, just passing around, like really like slapping it on. So that was the experience that I had. There was another student of knowledge at one of the local masjids here who spent some time studying in Saudi, and you know, so when you're over there, like you're around the specifically like the Eastern smelling fragrances, the Eastern fragrances. So I know that he had a experienced nose when it came to certain fragrances, and when he smelled the Khasab oudh right away, he wanted it. Like he wanted it right away. So I got a bottle to him, and those are the two experiences that I had. And sometimes what happens is that when certain people see other people pick a certain fragrance up, it will influence the decisions of other people to also like that fragrance, even if it's something that they may not have naturally gravitated towards, because they see others gravitating towards it. Sometimes, from my experience, that has always been something I've noticed people do, right? So you see one person wearing it or putting it on, and it's a decent fragrance, but it might not be something you may have paid much attention to, but because you see others wearing it, you're like, well, let me try that as well, right? And your nose becomes kind of, you begin to acquire a certain, favor for certain fragrances. So that's kind of what I've experienced, especially with the Khasab oudh. This fragrance right here, definitely, it was a favorite basically because there was a customer of one of my suppliers who he wanted something that was going to smell as authentically, like as authentic as a pure oud as possible. And this is what he came out with. I'm not going to say this is 100% pure authentic oud, definitely not, especially at the price that I'm selling it and what I'm getting it for. But I also will not say that there's not some pure oud in here. I believe there is pure oud in here, but it's not 100%. So this has been my experience. The dry down is kind of like, after it dries down, it's kind of, actually more on the sweet side. Starts off very, musky in the beginning, very kind of like pungent in the beginning, but by the time it dries down, it's very mellow and very, like, definitely on the sweeter side. So if this is something you're looking for, a fragrance like that, try the Khasab oudh. I will have it up on the website. Click the links below. Like, subscribe, and share when you get a chance. Take care, everybody, and have a good one.